Yeah, this is Jerry Matson. I wanted to show how we collect course information using a Google Sheet, Google Form, and a tool to automate emails to collect that information. So this is specifically, if this video gets out beyond limited distribution, this is for the Lone Star College in Houston, Texas, and it's intended for the various program coordinators to collect course proposals from instructors to build this spreadsheet that then will feed into a document that will build our catalog that then's published. So this is, and I'm a volunteer instructor at the University Park campus, and so that's just the context for this taking place. So this is a spreadsheet that collects information that we collect via a Google form. And let me show you the form very quickly. Let's go to the live form. And I'm not going to read this. You can pause the video or replay it and look at the text that I've built in here to collect the information. Little caveat, here's icon or logo. So we collect the instructor's name, and you can just look at these various information that we collect. And what's key here is I'm going to say, do the instructors teach on multiple campuses? Because a lot of the instructors do. And which campuses do you teach at? So that, when they click submit, will come back here and drop into this spreadsheet, which is empty right now, except for one entry, a form I filled out that's just testing. And that's going to serve my purposes to build these macros, this tool that will send emails out. And so you want to build this incrementally, and I've done that to a fairly complex setup. So first of all, the way this works is for the email, what's it called, mail merge, is you need an add-on. And the add-on is called Form Mule. And that add-on resides here. I'll click on that in just a minute, but if you're not familiar, the way you get add-ons is here. So you click on that and you have access to all these various tools. And the one that we're interested in here is Form Mule. So that's another topic. I actually have another document that installs, that describes how to install this and set it up, but that's not what I want to do right now. I want to show you how this works to demonstrate the end result after you go install it and build your own. And so back to add-ons, I'm going to do the setup. And let me click on that. And the code resides in the spreadsheet, which is in the cloud, so it's a little slower than what you might expect. So we'll watch it here for a minute. The triggers, send on form submit, or you can do a time trigger, or you can turn these off and then send them manually. Select the sheet that contains the email addresses and merge source data, which, as you can see behind down here, is the form responses tab, and these are previous results from previous years. And so you can change the tab that you use, or the that's input there. And I'm going to go to the templates. You can have, by default, one template, template number 1. I've left that name the same, but I've created these other templates, and you set the number here, and you define the name of the template, the send condition, and the trigger. And so what this means is send the email that's defined in template 1 if the template 1 send status, which is a column in the spreadsheet, if that's null. If it's empty, then send it. Because once it sends it, it's going to put a link or some code or some text in that field, and then it will be not null and it will not be sent again. These other conditions, the email tomball is the name I've given the template for the tomball email template that's addressed to specific people with different text. It's based on the tomball list, and if I click here, here's all of the fields, which are columns, in the spreadsheet, and those columns come from the form that I've defined, the questions that we ask. So the questions you ask, the titles of the questions become the columns in the spreadsheet, and that's what I'm referring to here. So if the tomball list contains the word tomball, then send that email. And if the next column, called the Montgomery list, contains Montgomery, then send Montgomery email. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I should trim this out. I don't know. I don't feel like editing. Should just take a couple seconds. Okay, I've saved. Now I'm going to edit the templates. And another pause. This is template number 1, which is the acknowledgement back to the instructor that we have received their form submission. That's not done by default, but when the instructors send their request or course proposal, they don't normally get an email, and so they don't have anything tangible to acknowledge that anybody's received their submission. So that's what I've created this for. Here at the University Park, it's going to go to the program coordinator, Laura Lee, copy to Kim, and then another copy to me, and etc. You can blind copy. Here's the reply to address. Here's the subject. Thank you for signing up to teach a class at the Lone Star College. And here's the body. You can read that. And then here's how this works. Here's some of the information you submitted. Instructor, oops. And these are tags, code tags, email merge tags that come from the column titles that become fields here. So just as an example, I can click here, for example, and I can click date, and it puts the text of the name of the column or the field, and then this code where it will go and bring in the contents of that field. So I don't want to leave that in there. And then thank you very much, Laura Lee, and her signature block. Now, that's acknowledgement back to the instructor. And so that's set right here from the email that's entered. That's the instructor's email in that column that comes from the field in the form. These other emails I've set up that's a little more complex. So here's the email addresses, but look at this. All class proposal received for you from University Park. I won't read that out loud. Pause the video and read that. But basically it's a heads up to the other campuses that one of our instructors has submitted a class and indicated that they are also going to teach that class at these other campuses. And it's a heads up. Watch out for a conflict. Make sure the instructor doesn't accidentally schedule their class for 2 different campuses at the same time. And that has been a problem in the past, which is why we do this. Here's the class they submitted. And so I copy to the other campuses what the instructor's name, the course title, the date, and the times, and here's their email address. And here are the other campuses that they listed that they're going to teach at. And so each of these templates goes to a different campus. And that's the purpose of these. So when you're done with each of that, you can say save and preview, and it shows you the preview. And there's only one row here, but you can go through these rows. So example, row 1, there's no trigger, no content there. Row 2 says yes. In the condition is a tomball list equals tomball, and I'm going to show you. Actually, I will get to that. It does contain tomball, so send this row, and here's the email all filled out. So when you're done with that, you can say save and send all, which doesn't send yet. it's going to preview all of the emails that it's going to send out. Fetching the preview, you can send up to 100 emails per day, which is a limit in Google from this code. So here's template number 1 from the 3rd row in the sheet, and you can see heading row 2 is blank, row 3. Here's the 2 from, here's the information that I submitted, testing, 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 and here's the signature block. And here's Tomball because I've got Tomball, and this is going to be sent to them, and then a 3rd one for Kingwood. If I click send now, this email will go out, and I don't really want it to. So I'm going to click cancel because I want to go back. I forgot to demonstrate or to show you how my code works. So these amber columns, I've coded them amber. This comes from the form. This different color, the green, are derived or calculated columns that are not part of the form. But here is the results from the form that say, are you teaching at multiple campuses? Most of them say no, but if they say yes, then there are check boxes for which campuses they are teaching at. And so maybe say Kingwood, Tomball. But the problem with this right here is if they're teaching in 2 or 3 or 4 campuses, the trigger will only work on the first word of the response, and it will not pick up the subsequent campus or 2 or 3. So that's why I have to do a calculation to say if this formula in S3 right there contains Sci-Fair, then put the word Sci-Fair here. If it contains Kingwood, then put the Kingwood word here. Just to demonstrate how that works, let me edit, and I'll say Sci-Fair, and you'll see Sci-Fair pops up there. Now that's a trigger, and the email to Sci-Fair will be sent. And so these black columns are the fields that the Form Mule creates, and some of those, the code are hidden tabs that you don't want to go mess with because it's code. But it shows you the email send status for all the different fields. So that is a quick overview for how this code, how these fields work with the Form Mule email mail merge template using a form. And so as instructors submit their forms, this spreadsheet will fill up. We'll get an email that they've submitted, or the instructors will get a confirmation email showing what they submitted, and the various campuses, if an instructor intends to teach at those campuses, they will get a heads up email. And of course we have the spreadsheet here, and we can turn on notifications so that we can get a response anytime a user submits a form, and that will come to me or one of us. That's how it works. If you have any questions, email me. And in fact, if this might be useful for you and your campus, I can send a copy of this to you or share it, and then you can make changes and use this virtually. I mean, just changing a few email addresses, and you could use this at your own campus. Okay, that should be a wrap.